The big story coming in from Ukraine as the Russian forces advance, yet another frontline city falls. And as the US corners Ukraine into surrendering territory for peace, Ukraine is coming under pressure. Today, the Russian president unleashed the sharpest attack on Ukraine's leadership yet, calling its leaders organized criminal syndicate. And while Putin berated Kyiv's top brass, his troops, his forces captured Kupiansk in what Moscow is calling its most decisive victory in months. The capture of the eastern Ukrainian city has now set the tone for a dramatic escalation, both on the front line and also on the negotiating table in a way. In a video released by Russian state media, Russia's top military officer is seen briefing the Russian president. He tells him reportedly that Russian troops have taken full control of Kupiansk in the Kharkiv region and are now destroying encircled Ukrainian forces on the left bank of the Oskil River. Now, Kyiv has not yet confirmed or commented on the claim, and it has not been independently verified. But if it is true, the symbolism is enormous. Kupiansk, a pre-war city of 55,000 and a critical railway hub, was among the first territories seized after the war started in 2022. Remember, it is also one of Kyiv's most celebrated victories when it was recaptured months later. And now Russia says it has seized it again. And the announcement comes amid some of the deadliest strikes of recent weeks. On Wednesday, an attack on the western city of Ternopil killed 26 people, injured 93, like we've been telling you. Over 20 people remained missing. And then overnight, Russian drone attacks hit Zaporizhzhia and Odesa. 5 people were killed in Zaporizhzhia, 3 injured, as markets and vehicles burned through the night, with emergency crews battling the fires. In Odesa, 5 people were injured, as residential buildings, a vehicle service center, and an administrative facility were damaged. And against that backdrop, the Russian president appeared to go further as far as his rhetoric is concerned than he has in months, it seems. Responding to the military briefing, the Russian leader described Ukraine's leadership as, quote-unquote, organized crime syndicate, claiming it remained in power under the pretext of continuing the war with Russia. Now, those remarks were in reference to a corruption scandal in Ukraine, the dismissal of 2 senior officials after investigators revealed $100 million had been embezzled from the energy sector. And if that wasn't enough, perhaps the biggest development coming in from Washington. On Friday, Ukraine woke up to a draft US proposal that would, in a way, end the war largely on Russia's terms. WION told you about this last night. Reports of a secret US draft proposal now coming in that has been seen by news agencies like AFP and Reuters. Talk of Washington's peace plan requiring Ukraine to give up land, significantly cut the size of its army, and hold elections within 100 days. Kyiv would be bound never to join the NATO, and sanctions on Russia would be lifted. The proposal, endorsed by US President Donald Trump, according to the White House, would also recognize Crimea and the eastern regions of Donetsk and Lugansk as de facto Russian. The front line in the southern Kherson and Zaporizhzhia regions would be frozen. Russia would reportedly return to the G8, and the Kremlin, under sweeping sanctions for more than 3 years, would be reintegrated into the global economy. And when asked about this by reporters, the White House press secretary called it, quoting, a good plan for both Russia and Ukraine. Even as Washington insists the document is still a draft. Needless to say, in Kyiv, the reaction has been one of shock. One lawmaker from Zelensky's party summed up the mood in rather blunt language. Being mind blown has become our norm. Quite a statement there. In fact, today, Ukraine has said that it will not accept any arrangement that crosses what it calls its own red lines. Security Council chief and the lead negotiator, Rustem Umerov, has said, I'm quoting from that statement now on your screen, there can be no decisions. There can be no decisions outside the framework of our sovereignty, the security of our people, or our red lines, now or ever, quote unquote. Now, Zelensky is also preparing an urgent call, reportedly, with his closest European allies, the French president, the British Prime Minister, the German Chancellor, to coordinate a joint response. The European Union says it has not officially received the US plan, but the EU Commission President has confirmed it will be discussed on the sidelines of the G20 summit in South Africa. Zelensky says he will speak directly with Trump in the coming days and insists that Ukraine needs a dignified peace. But so far, he has not said whether Kyiv could agree to any part of the US proposal as such. So losing Kupiansk may mark more than just a military challenge for Ukraine, with the Russian forces advancing, American pressure building up, European hesitation visible, Ukrainian morale tested by corruption scandals, and staggering battlefield losses. The outcome may hinge not only on who wins territory, but on what terms the war will actually end. Meanwhile, staying on with the UK, the government is facing a high-stakes decision on whether to approve China's proposed mega embassy in London, despite concerns over espionage and national security. A lot at play here. Let's just break this down for you. According to reports, senior MI5 officers have told the House of Commons Speaker that the security risks posed by the 20,000 square meter Chinese outpost at Royal Mint Court can be managed. The security service has said it's very relaxed about the project, opening the door for the ministers to grant approval. And this comes even as critics are warning that this largest ever diplomatic presence by China in the UK could be a hub for spying, they allege. The decision comes as China exerts pressure on London. Beijing has demanded that the UK honour its commitments and block renovations at the British Embassy in Beijing, sending out a clear signal that approval of its London super embassy is non-negotiable. And this also has triggered questions, raising eyebrows, as the British Prime Minister basically will be visiting China at the end of January next year to shore up foreign investment and further improve relations with Beijing. The former MI6 chief, meanwhile, and other experts have said a compromise is likely, emphasizing on the need for the UK to maintain a strong diplomatic presence in Beijing and that a mutually agreed embassy arrangement is necessary. Yet security specialists are warning that the sheer size of the building, its location near critical infrastructure, China's history of embassy-based espionage present real challenges and concerns.
There is value for the UK in engagement with China on education. However, operating in today's uncertain international context presents many challenges for our great universities. It is because of their excellence that states like China are attempting to influence their independent research and interfere with activity on campus. Ministers have already raised our concerns about this activity with their counterparts in Beijing, and the Office for Students has recently issued new guidance to help universities protect the freedoms their staff and students enjoy.
Recently, MI5 also issued warnings to lawmakers about the Chinese attempts to influence and collect information on British politicians, including using online recruitment campaigns. Britain's Security Minister, meanwhile, confirmed the launch of a counter-political interference and espionage action plan to tackle such threats from China and other foreign actors. Listen to this.
I can announce that the government has committed to investing £170 million to renew the sovereign encrypted technology our officials use to do their vital work. This programme of work will help to ensure sensitive diplomatic, economic, trade, security, law enforcement and policy development arrangements are safeguarded from espionage by any state threat actor. I can also announce that this government has completed the removal of surveillance equipment manufactured by companies subject to the National Intelligence Law of the People's Republic of China from all sensitive sites we maintain in the UK and around the world.
Now, with the approval date set for December 10, all eyes are on Downing Street as the UK prepares to, in a way, as has been alleged, bow down to Beijing, risking security concerns for diplomatic convenience, in a way. Switching gears, the line was crossed, rhetoric became a death threat. A sitting US president called for the execution of elected officials, plunging Washington into a whole new crisis. The Democrats are outraged, but White House says one should hear what the Democrats are saying and that it is dangerous. Our next story getting you all the details.
It begins with a chilling post. Trump, angered by a viral video where 6 Democratic lawmakers urge the military to disobey illegal orders, lashes out with one word: seditions. Then the escalation. Trump invokes the ultimate penalty: this is seditious behavior, punishable by death. Immediately there was a backlash. Trump's fury came after a group of Democratic Congress members called upon the military and intelligence community to refuse illegal orders. Watch the video where the statement was made.
Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence.
We know you are under enormous...
Critics called it reckless, dangerous. Democrats are lashing out, saying a line: no modern US president has crossed in public view.
Disgusting and dangerous what Donald Trump has said in accusing patriotic members of Congress and the Senate who served this country well of treason and suggesting they should be killed. That's disgusting. But we, of course, have come to expect this from Donald Trump.
The last 41 days have exposed the depths of Donald Trump's cruelty. He shut the government down longer than any president in American history, took innocent kids, veterans, federal workers as hostages, political hostages, all because he refuses to do anything to fix the health care crisis, and instead keeps pushing policies that will cut people's coverage even more.
White House asserts that US president does not want to execute members of Congress, but questioned the intentions of the Democrats.
We have 1.3 active duty service members in this country, and if they hear this radical message from sitting members of Congress, that could inspire chaos, and it could incite violence, and it certainly could disrupt the chain of command.
At the heart of the storm was a simple question: how far is too far? Trump's defenders claimed he was responding to Democrats encouraging soldiers to refuse unlawful commands. But opponents saw the post as a dangerous use of presidential power, weaponizing the idea of sedition, a charge tied to national betrayal to intimidate political enemies. America now stands at a crossroads. The rhetoric is harsher, the stakes higher.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.